Thank you, Tony, very much. That was a very comprehensive walk through really much of the disintegration of our culture now based on the strategies, really, of cultural Marxism. A big question, and we're really short on time. One thing, if you do have questions for Tony, you can either put them in the chat or send them to me, and Tony would be glad to answer them. But I guess one of the questions is, of course, where was the church in all of this? Where was the leadership of the Christian community? And it seems that's a big question that's worth another lecture, of course.
The church unfortunately retreated, uh,
Yeah.
and they took a very antisocial move and also very anti-intellectual. Uh,
Yes.
they felt that they had to step back because the intellectuals were liberals and they were undermining the Bible, attacking the Bible. And so a lot of this has happened under the church's watch, and the church
Right.
is responsible for
For
that.
sure. Oh, uh, opportunity for a couple of questions, perhaps. I know it's a bit late for some, but if you have some questions or comments, I will certainly make Tony's presentation available. PowerPoint, I think you'll make available, and we have this recorded as well. And the articles, the material that I included in the flyer for this event is very helpful, so certainly. But comments, maybe George out in BC, you've got some thoughts?
I have a question. Tony, this has been just really terrific. And I've been following this. This needs to be known amongst God's people just everywhere.
Yeah,
But can you give us some kind of concrete suggestions about what should we be doing to counteract what the Marxists are doing in our society? And I guess starting with the church. Can you give us some suggestions?
Yeah, I would suggest that we talk about that in the church. That we
great.
I'm doing a lecture at the end of September at my church on a Saturday. We're opening it to the public. We're
Okay,
neighboring churches, and so I'll send that information to you, Donald, as well.
excellent.
And so we need to talk about it in our churches. We're not talking about these things, and the problem with that is that when the young folks in our church go to the universities, they're being bombarded with this daily.
Oh
And
Right.
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so they're not only I have one of my students came to me and said, I took a film studies course at George Brown College, and they're talking about Marx. What does that have to do with film studies? I said, it has nothing to do with film studies. But we need to start talking about this in our churches. We need to call it what it is. It is anti-gospel. It's antichrist ideology, and we need to start telling our students, our young people, what do you expect when they go to
Right.
university, so they're prepared when they're exposed to this, because there's a lot of pressure put on them by their friends to join their clubs and to join their point of view. And so we need to start talking about this. I mean,
Right.
when I preach, I probably make reference to it once or twice during my sermons. So we need to educate our people. And so if you want to share this video with your church Sunday school groups and maybe your Wednesday night meeting groups or whenever you meet during the week, knowledge is power. Knowledge
Yeah.
is power. So that's what I would recommend is we start talking about this with our churches, and our pastors need to, I think we've gone through systematic theology, we've gone through justification by faith alone. We need to start talking about our culture and how we can be ready, as First Peter 3:15 says, always be ready to give an answer to those
Great.
about the hope that we have. So it starts with the pastors, the leaders of the church, the shepherds, and we need to get this word out there. We need to educate our people so that when they go out into the mission field or the battlefield, they have the proper
Great.
tools and weapons to deal with it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And again, there's a lot of resources on the flyer for this, additional lectures by Tony and other resources. Certainly, that's a place to start that you can work with. One or two more questions or comments. And again, I appreciate, Tony, your time and the
Not fine.
intensity with which you have presented a very comprehensive sweep, really touching all the bases pretty much. But um, any other questions or comments um, at this point? And again,
In,
the
in the chat,
PowerPoint.
I think our sister Liz had
Oh,
something.
oh,
I,
good. I didn't even look at the chat. Let me look there.
I,
Liz,
yeah, I want to make sure I don't miss what she said there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Dominic and then Liz.
she left.
Yes.
Yep. Oh,
Okay.
there, Liz. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Yeah, I got. So Liz, she's in a regular prayer meeting every Wednesday with the Third Education Revolution, and she's doing a lot of work on education there. Uh, we'll certainly follow up, but she's kind of fighting the good fight with very limited resources there.
Yes.
And all right. Well, I really appreciate Tony the comprehensive, and you've, I say, written a lot, and your book on the
Can I make a comment?
yes, please.
Please.
I've been doing some research about cultural Marxism on my own, and I have discovered that apparently cultural Marxism was created by the conservative movement in the early 1990s. Cultural Marxism is not an intellectual movement that exists among Marxists. What these conservatives did, such as William Lynn and Paul, how do you pronounce his name? I think it's Weyrich.
Okay.
Weyrich.
Created this movement that doesn't exist, and they interjected it with certain facts that are true. There is a Marxist movement called the Frankfurt School, but it's distorted in the telling of what they were really up to.
Mhm.
They get into all these other things which Tony Costa has talked about, and how much of it really goes back to the Frankfurt School is an open question, in my
Well,
opinion.
Mhm.
you've opened the question. I mean, I
And
think
the other
go ahead,
thing I
Tony.
want to say, if I may just say this, these early founders of the conservative cultural Marxism conspiracy were also anti-Semitic. And as far as I'm concerned, I will have nothing to do with anti-Semitism.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree that, I mean, I guess, of course, anti-Semitism is horrible. We should never entertain that.
Mm.
I've not heard of that idea of the conservatives being the founders of the culture Marxism.
Yeah.
If you read Lukács and if you read Anthony Gramsci in particular, they've basically reiterated everything I've mentioned,
Mm.
including the abolition of Christianity, the abolition of Western values. Lukács was very clear about that. Herbert Marcuse, all Horkheimer, all of these guys made it clear that we need to eradicate Christianity and eradicate the foundations of Western society.
So, Tony, have you actually read these books by
I've not read all of
Gramsci?
them. I've not read all of them, but I have read enough of their content to know
Yeah.
And
that
were they before the 1990s?
yes,
Way before. Way before.
yes,
Way before. Yes, I just kind of wanted to highlight that.
Yeah.
30s. They're looking at the 30s, 40s. Gramsci is is in the 1920s, so
Yeah.
quite.
There's excellent. There's a very excellent set of articles in the Vogelin View on cultural Marxism. And clearly, the historical understanding of this certainly goes back into the early part of the 20th century. Just to decide, when I came as a graduate student in the early 1970s, uh, Gramsci, all the Frankfurt School really were the rage. They were it, and they affected many of the people at the Institute for Christian Studies. They kind of hopped, and it was clearly a very significant uh, fad within the university culture of the early 70s.
Liberation theology was based on that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
America, so you had these Marxist groups talking about fighting back against the government, or even Roman Catholic priests were getting involved in these skirmishes with the government. Yeah,
Yeah, the Berenger brothers. But yeah, it was a very tumultuous time. But the whole New Left that then eventually became the professorate in the 1990s. You know,
you
that's
see it
kind of
today in Canada. You see it with the United Church, the decline of the United Church, and
right. Yeah,
complete of the Church of England right now, and unfortunately parts of the Presbyterian Church of Canada.
for sure.
Oh, and in the United States, you see with the United Methodists and many other groups. The
Right.
Evangelical Lutheran Church of America is completely given over to this woke ideology.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pervasive. Well, look, that's very helpful. I think, as George said, it's a real eye-opener for many who perhaps haven't heard so much of this stuff, but it is well documented.
Yes,
And there are some additional articles. I will share the one from the Vogelin View, which is a very, I don't know if you can see it there. It's quite a detailed study of the uh,
Ratsky.
full development of Frankfurt School and many books written on it as well. But thank you, Tony, and everyone for your patience. There's a lot that we covered, a lot of ground here, and this is just really scratching the surface still. So we definitely have a lot of work to do. But I think you're right that leaders in the church, pastors, youth leaders have to prepare their kids for what the conflict is. That every it's really a battle for the mind in the universities, and if you're not prepared, then you get really you lose basically.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
Don,
again, thank
Don,
you,
Don,
Jerry.
can I make a short promotional for Third Education Revolution?
Yes, George, please.
Third Education Revolution is a worldwide group, global group that is seeking to. They're very aware that the Marxists have taken over education, and it's through teaching our children and our university students. And what we are trying to do in TER
Yeah,
is try to move forward the movement that is happening around the world to take
yep,
back education to Christian sources and to keep our kids from being indoctrinated by the universities and now the schools. The
yeah,
schools are very much in part of it. And so if any of you here haven't been part or know anything about the
yeah.
Third
Oh,
Education Revolution, we have a prayer meeting each Wednesday at
yeah.
um,
That's
I
good.
think it's what time is it in
It actually is noon Eastern time. And
yeah, noon
I'll
Eastern
include
time.
that
It's 9 o'clock
information.
my time.
Yeah, and Shivansh, down still with us, attends those meetings as well. And Shivansh really converted from Hinduism and became a Christian, and recently moved to Toronto.
I just baptized a former Hindu last 2 Sundays ago who came to the Lord.
Wonderful. Yeah,
There's an ex-Muslim who's coming all the way from Ottawa to Toronto because he wants me to baptize him. He's just come to
yeah,
Christ. Ex-Muslim.
wonderful.
Praise the Lord. Yeah.
Praise God.
Absolutely. Well, thank God.
Praise
Well,
the
thank you
Lord.
so much, Tung, and there's lots of work to do, but we've got, I think, good resources to work with, and there's really, say the fields are white to harvest. We need the laborers, and your academic work and articles, many articles you've written are very helpful as well.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. I will include the information on Third Education Revolution, and I'll have Tony's PowerPoint and some of the additional articles related to this topic. Thank you all very much. Blessings, and we will again talk soon. And thank you, Tony. I will get the recording fixed up. George, thank you for being here, and Jerry, glad you could join us. Jerry, do you know Tony by chance? You're muted, Jerry. Sorry.
No,
There.
I don't believe Tony and I have met yet.
Okay, so Jerry's at Knox Presbyterian. That a long
Right,
time.
right by the
So,
university.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
right across the street.
I know it very well.
yeah, well, I think that kind of presentation to university students in maybe more digestible chunks would be very valuable. I think, and providing a framework. I think you know
Might, yeah.
but I guess what's striking is how they were very intentional. They had a strategy. They had a long-term strategy for cultural domination. Christians really haven't had a game plan or ground game and a strategy by and large. I think so. We can certainly learn from how they operated and see, well, how could a Christian worldview really have this sort of impact? And so clearly, the educational institutions are critical. As George mentions, the third education revolution is thinking that strategically, dealing with those issues.
Yes.
But Tony, I hope to get to meet you soon in person. But it's been a pleasure online, and thank you for all the content. And we'll have you certainly back follow up. And George, you've got a lot of material there to work with, and we'll pick this up again in the certainly in this fall semester as well. And Jerry, you're keeping well. I'll have to catch up with you later. My wife is calling. But again, thank you so much, Tony. And I'll get the recording ready to share soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. God bless everyone.
Blessings, you guys.
Bye,
Yeah,
guys.
and Shivanshu, good to see you here.
Yeah, still here. Yes. Hi, Don.
Yeah, glad you could join
Mhm.
us.
Yeah, it was really enlightening in many sense. And what he mentioned about India and the
Yeah,
caste system was to the point. So in my workplace, it's not when I was in India, it's not unusual people asking your surname. And when they ask for your surname, they're actually trying to get what caste you belong to. So, I mean, they'll get the idea where you are in the hierarchy. So
right.
it's to the point. It was very relevant. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, brother.
for sure. And we'll keep you in touch. And you and Tony are in Toronto, so I think you'll connect. I think you were going to go to Tony's church one of these times. And Jerry,
Oh
thank you
yes,
for
we were
helping
we were
Shivanshu as well.
Yeah, you're always welcome. We'd happy to see you.
Okay. All
yes,
right.
yes.
All right.
Well,
God
thank you so much, and enjoy a good evening.
bless you.
Arda, thank you also for joining us from BC.